time. Um, been super busy with our season. Had camps, had tryouts. Now we're putting the teams together. We've got over 200 kids in the program now, so letting over 200 kids know that they've made teams, and unfortunately letting like 400 kids know that we don't have spots is very time consuming. So what's up, Fuzzy Fox? So been doing that for a while now. Hi, Tyson. What's up, Eric? Hey, Henry, what's going on? Thanks for your glove. So I'm back. Yes, I am back. What's up, John? Hi, Brent. So I was just saying, for all of you that are jumping in, I've been super busy with camps and traveling. I've been in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Georgia, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. I've been in every state possible over the last month to 2 months. So I have not had a day off of baseball in since basically high school ball started. So hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. A lot of that was from our camps that we've had. We've had 3 summer camps over the last month. We did not go down to Mobile, no. Is directional hitting important? Show because I have tomorrow. Directional hitting. What do you mean by directional hitting? Like where the ball's going, are you saying? Hi, baseball lover. It has been a long time, Pete. So I'm going to answer some questions today. We'll talk some baseball. If everyone could give the video a like, that would be awesome. And then I'm going to head out to dinner in a little bit. But, like oppo and pull side. So just try to hit the ball where it's pitched, I'd say. Don't try to force the ball the other way if it's inside. If it's away, go with the ball. Henry, the practice schedule, I don't know yet. It could look a little bit different. Hi, Takumi. Saw you were at BC's camp today. Good job. Or maybe that was yesterday. Hitters Baseball Academy. I don't know if I feel like I have heard of that. Yeah, I think I've seen it online. Actually, today's the first day I haven't gone to a baseball field in I don't know how long. I've been. It's today. Good job. So people don't believe me when I say I have gone to a baseball field every day since March, and but that is the truth. I've gone every day. Today's the first day I didn't go to a baseball field. So I would show you my computer right now. I just have lists and lists and lists of tryouts and going through and talking to our coaches, trying to figure out our team for next season. I love my Tesla. Yes, thank you. D1 pop time. If you're in high school looking to play D1, I'd say you're going to have to throw, a 2.0. I would say typically a 2.0 or below. I'm not saying every single one's got to be there, but you've got to probably show. For instance, I'll give you real quick. We played a couple of really good teams in the last tournament. Catcher going to Seton Hall. I had him at a 1.9 down the second base. I mean, he had a cannon, one of the better arms we saw. We saw a kid going to Stonehill, played for, who did he play for? He was with Seacoast United, I believe. He was in the 1.9s, really strong arm. Kid for Evo this summer. Uncommitted, but I think he reclassed to 2024. Really strong arm with sub 2s. All the sub 2 guys are guys that are in the D1 discussion. Hey, what's up, Joe Schmo? What's happening? Hey, looking to play for your community college baseball team, looking to try out as no fielder. This is the first time playing. Is there any tips for you to make the team? Nah, just do your thing. I mean, tryouts. I always say for tryouts, the biggest thing is to just be yourself. Can't try to, obviously train as hard as you can working up to that tryout and figure out what are your strengths and your weaknesses and attack them and try to get as good as possible. But when you get to the tryouts, it's play as hard as you can, have good energy, be the first guy in line, look the part, look professional, but then just play the game. I never got to meet Mike Mussina. No, I did not meet Moose. Why do so many young pitchers pitch from the stretch and not the full windup? I think it really depends. I think certain coaches will teach players to pitch from the stretch because less moving parts, so they feel like they can repeat their delivery. Some players pitch better from the full windup because there's a little bit more rhythm involved. So it really depends. If you feel like you really struggle from the full windup, maybe try to just go from the stretch. Friarhood, yeah, that was back in the day that was my Padres days. I do remember that. Do the Sox have a run on them to make the playoffs? Honestly, I've been so busy with baseball, I haven't watched a Major League game in quite some time. I've watched the Yankees actually a decent amount because Brian Menduke, who coaches with me at 17U, is from New Jersey, huge Yankees fan. We've been on the road a lot, and so we watch a lot of Yankees games. He doesn't miss one, so. Protein shakes okay for 17-year-olds? Yeah, I'm not a nutritionist. Don't go by what I say, but I think protein shakes are fine as a way to get some extra protein into as like a post-workout recovery shake. I use protein shakes probably from 17 years. I probably started at 17, and that was probably when I started. Fall ball will be at Fenwick. Yep. Hey, what's up, JP's baseball journey? What's happening? Pre-workout and high caffeine energy drinks. I've never personally used them. So I think I tried one a long time ago, and I didn't. Here's the weird thing with me. I don't really get any. I don't notice any effect from caffeine drinks or pre-workout shakes or any of that. They just never had an effect on me. So I've always had a lot of energy. I always go into the gym and feel like ready to go. I always go to practice, feel ready to go. I'm a morning person, so I get up early and I'm ready to rock. Like I don't need caffeine. I don't drink coffee. So I can't really. I don't have a ton of info on that. Hey, Joe Schmo, thank you so much for the super chat, Mr. Matt. What do you think of the advice? Bat knob lead to the ball in a swing. Have you heard this advice before? So the knob of the ball leads to the ball. So here's how I explain it. I personally say that, whatever the knob does, the barrel is gonna basically do the opposite. So if I turn my knob like this, if I turn my knob, my barrel is gonna turn. So if I turn my knob up, my barrel is gonna turn back and down. And that's how you get the barrel to start to turn and then enter the zone deep and then work slightly up through the ball. If you take the knob of your bat and you take your knob of your bat down to the ball and you continue to go down to the ball, then the barrel is going to follow that knob. So knob goes down to the ball and through the ball, barrel goes down to the ball, through the ball. Knob turns and starts to work up into the ball, barrel's gonna turn and then start to work up into the ball. So that's kind of how I explain the knob barrel relationship. Evan, thank you so much for super chat. With all the nutritional talk, does Antonelli Baseball have someone who preaches proper nutrition, which can be a challenge for high school students? So, I'm usually the one that yells at everybody for their proper nutrition. So, you are 100% right. The biggest problem I see with high school players and most players in general is they don't eat enough. And so that's what I'm always on our players for, is to eat more. Most players, I get on players a lot for skipping meals, for not eating breakfast, and just for not getting enough calories in them. And what I notice a lot is, let's back up a second. Here's the biggest thing. There's definitely a correlation, a direct correlation, and I see it all summer long, right? When you see players going to high-level colleges, when you see, and I don't want to say this is every player, but this is the majority of the players. when you see players that are going to play at a high level of college, they're big and they're strong, and they're usually fast too, right? It's very hard to be good if you are small and weak. And in order to be big and strong for most players, they have to eat a lot, and they have to have a strength training program. And there's a lot of players I see that are small and not physical. Those are the players that always have an excuse for why they didn't eat. And then, when I talk to them about eating more, they say, well, I am eating a lot. And then I ask them what they're eating, and they can't name anything. We have certain players that, I'm on all the time. They get bigger and stronger. And, I'll see them at 2:00 and I'll say, what did you have for breakfast? And they'll a lot of times say, well, I didn't have breakfast because I was running late because I had to do this, I had to do that. And then when you see the guys that are big and strong and physical, they don't miss meals and they don't lift weight training sessions, and, they're getting in plenty of calories. So, I always looked at, here's a quick tip. I always looked at nutrition from a young age. I'm talking like the second I decided I wanted to play baseball or be an athlete in college, I didn't miss weight training sessions, and I didn't miss meals. That was it. You can ask my wife. If I didn't eat every 3 hours, I started to twitch. So if I was going someplace, I always carried food with me so I could eat every 3 hours. It was a job for me from about 17 years old, 16 or 17, until I stopped playing at almost 30. So, that's really how you have to be for most players. I played at 210 pounds typically. I was up as high as 220. That's not my natural weight. My natural weight's probably like 175, 180. If I just got up and kind of ate when I felt like eating and, didn't lift weights, that would be my natural weight. So I was playing at 30, probably 30 pounds heavier than my natural weight. You can't get to be that big and as strong as I was just by accident. So you either treat it like it's a job, or you don't, and you don't really see a whole lot of results. That's my spiel on training and eating. As a multi-sport athlete in high school yourself, are you seeing this in high school these days? I see less multi-sport stuff, more people doing sport-specific stuff, or just doing one sport. Some players just doing two sports. Sports are being offered year-round now, which they weren't really as much when I was younger. So I think that's one thing. I think here's the other thing, is that I think it's tougher. Robert Long, thank you so much for that super chat. I don't see a question attached there, so I don't know if you had one or if you're just giving the super chat, but thank you so much. And if everyone could give a like, I'd really appreciate that. So here's the thing I see with multi-sport things, or what I see in sports in general. Things are getting very sports specific to the point where, if you're a pitcher now, and this wasn't available in my day, if you're a pitcher now, they have programs 12 months a year for pitchers. Pitchers are throwing almost 12 months a year, or they're at least lifting, they're training. These academies and throwing programs, or these places where you can go and learn how to throw harder with better command, they're all over the country. And that's one of the reasons why pitchers are getting better than ever. And so if you want to compete now and play at a higher level, you have to do more. And so more players are feeling like they need to maybe stop playing another sport so they can concentrate more on baseball. Now, some people say, no, just play all the sports you can, and you'll be a better athlete and all this stuff. And for some people that is the case, if you're a really good athlete. But there are certain people that if they don't put in a lot of time to baseball, they're probably not going to make it. So it's tough to say, right? If you're a great athlete, and for me in high school, I didn't need to play baseball every day to be really good at baseball because I was a good athlete. Some people say, well, you were good at baseball because you played 3 sports and all that stuff. Or did I just play 3 sports because I was a good athlete? I don't know. Let's get the thumbs going. So it's a really interesting question. But there's definitely more players specializing in one sport in today's world. Yeah, we need to get at least 56 thumbs up, at least 56 likes. We got 56 people in here right now. We did do pinstripes one year, Henry. Doing great, Flyers fan. How are you doing? Is it okay to take 2 to 3 months away from baseball? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, even as a professional player, I don't know if I took 2 to 3 months away. I got right into my training, so right into like getting my body going again, because a season beats up your body. So I would usually take a couple days off after the season, literally just a couple days, maybe like a day or two, and then I would get right back in the weight room. But I wouldn't throw a ball or pick up a bat for a little while, because I did it for 8, 9 months straight. For pitchers, do you recommend one-on-one lessons or throwing programs? So that's a great question. I think probably depends a little bit on you as a player. So we offer one-on-one lessons, but we also offer group lessons. And now with our new facility opening soon, we're going to offer much more group lessons. I think pitching sometimes can be even easier because, you can get a bunch of pitchers. It's typically easier to work with a bunch of pitchers than it is, with a guy swinging a bat. But I think group sessions can be good for really anything. And I think, listen, this is like a case-by-case basis. Like, I think one-on-one time is important. But I think if you're doing group sessions, it's important to get that one-on-one time. But then also, it's perfectly fine to be able to go off and take your swings by yourself and not have somebody holding your hand, every swing that you take. So I think both can be important. Some players might need more one-on-one time than other players, so it really is a case-by-case basis. What's the most important thing you look for in a catcher at 16 years old? Well, the most important thing I look for in a catcher is the ability to catch the ball, first off. I think the first thing I look for is just how they receive the ball. Do they keep strikes? Do they get like pitches that are kind of like borderline strike balls? Do they make those strikes? That's most important. And do they catch the ball? Are balls hitting off their glove? Like that's not good. So I always start with that. And then you can get into the blocking, right? You've got to be able to block the ball at a high level. You've got to give your pitcher confidence that he can throw a pitch in the dirt or out of the zone and that you're going to be able to block the ball. If the pitcher doesn't feel comfortable doing that, or if every time the ball is in the dirt, it's a pass ball or a wild pitch, I should say, then it's going to be hard to catch at a high level. So blocking would be next, and then throwing would be the third thing. So it's really an order of the amount of times you do things. You receive most, you block second most, you throw third most. So those are the three things I'm looking for. And then hitting, usually at the catching position, hitting kind of becomes the last thing that you kind of look for. It's not super common to find 27 to 32-year-olds in the minors. I played until I was almost 30, and I was like old. So the only time you see guys usually in their 30s in the minors are guys that have at least been to the big leagues. Because if you haven't been to the big leagues, you're probably not hanging in the minors until you're 30 years old. When's the facility going to be open? We're shooting for any time now. So waiting for the last few things to be, for the town to pass so that we can get in there. Facility is located in Middleton, Massachusetts. Hey, thanks, BV3 or Brian. I appreciate it. Yep. Henry Van Vasten, thank you so much for the super chat. Matt, you should do ice blue. Henry, our colors are black and gold. How are we going to do ice blue? We might do pinstripes again, though. Is patience the best trait a batter can have? Well, I'll say this. I think pitch recognition and strike zone judgment is huge. Like if you swing at balls consistently, it's gonna be hard for you to hit. So you've got to be able to swing at strikes and swing at hittable pitches. But that's not the most important thing, because when you do swing, you've got to be able to have a swing that can produce something, right? Like you've got to be able to create some bat speed and get a barrel on the ball. You got to be able to square the ball up. So I would say those are probably the two most important things: what you swing at and how you swing. Thanks, baseball lover. Yeah, we use a lot of pitching machines for hitting practices. I think the cool thing about pitching machines is that you can create a few different things. One, you can increase velocity. So it's hard to throw BP at game speed. So you can increase velocity. You can practice at game speed. You can throw breaking balls that you can throw those obviously as well, but you can shoot breaking balls out of the machine, which are not always easy to do with a live arm. I do think that I do think that you want to see live arms, because there is an aspect of seeing timing, and obviously you're going to see a live arm in a game. But the whole, like, the old school approach of like machines are bad and I can't get my timing down is bullcrap, in my opinion. Like, anytime a hitter tells me I can't hit off the machine, I can't time it up, I'm like, well, you're just not a good hitter, to be honest. So sorry if you said that to me before. But like, I'm an old man, I haven't played baseball in forever. When I go hit off the hack attack machine, our hack attack machines, it's the easiest thing in the world. Like, if they put a hack attack machine on the mound, and I'm not talking about like juicing it up to game speed. I'm just talking about just hitting off the machine and having the excuse of, well, I can't time it up, I think is a silly excuse. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I missed a couple of these. Petros, what's going on? Thank you so much for hanging out. Dave Roberts was one of my coaches with the Padres. He was he mostly worked with base runners, worked with bunting. So Dave's a great guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. When do I normally stream? You mean when do I normally stream, or when do you normally stream? I gotcha. Really depends. I haven't streamed in a long time. The reason I'm streaming right now is because my wife was in the shower and I was putting together our rosters for next year, and realized I haven't been home. I've been on the road. I haven't been online. I haven't been on YouTube in a long time. So I just wanted to kind of come and say hello to everybody, because I haven't been on here in forever. Been trying to teach Henry, how to play baseball. So, but I do have to get in the shower in a little bit, because we are going to grab some dinner. So I'll answer probably another 5-10 minutes of questions. Savannah Bananas. I see their clips online all the time. Looks like it's pretty fun. I still don't understand how the whole thing works, but did you pick up Spanish in your time as a pro ball player? So I took Spanish throughout high school and throughout college. So I would not say that I am fluent in Spanish in any way, but when I got drafted, I had taken 7 years of Spanish. So I had a pretty good idea of, well, let's say this: I could understand Spanish decently well. A little bit tougher for me to speak it. Could speak enough. When I got drafted, I would say I was probably the only non-Spanish speaking player to be able to speak enough to be able to, converse with players that were Spanish speaking. Made a good amount of friends, from the Dominican and Venezuela and all these different places. I spoke well enough with one of our shortstops, Lopi from Mexico, that I would take him out to dinner and try to help him. Like, I think I took him to his first ever Italian restaurant and ordered spaghetti and meatballs for him. So yes, I was able to speak enough that I could hang out. So what typically happens in the minor leagues is, because when you get drafted in the low minor leagues, you have these players from all over the country, or all over the world, but let's say like South America, who speak Spanish, and a lot of them, it's their first time in America. They don't speak any English, like zero English, And so then you have all these American players that speak no Spanish, and so they can't talk to each other. And so what you typically have in the low minors is you have like everything is the dugout, or excuse me, the clubhouse is like Spanish speaking players over here, English speaking players over here. Same thing in the bus, same thing in the dugout, same thing at lunch breaks. So you always have like these two separate groups of people because they can't talk to each other. And so one thing that I enjoyed doing is because I could speak a little bit of Spanish, I would hang out with the Spanish speaking kids. No, I wouldn't hang out with them all the time, but I could kind of go over there and like, I think they thought it was cool that I tried to speak with them, even though they probably made fun of my English or my Spanish for not being good. I could at least attempt to do it. So I made a lot of friends because I think they liked the fact that I tried to hang out with them and talk to them, even though I couldn't really do it. I couldn't speak that great, so. De Vries no habla español. Frieser. I don't think Fries spoke Spanish, no. But he was on that team with me. What did it feel like when you heard your name called in the first round? It felt pretty good. That was one of my main goals when I was in college, to be a first round pick. So if you want to see the video of it happening, you can type in on YouTube. I think you just type in like Antonelli draft and it should come up. I put a video up a long time ago of my reaction when I got drafted. I started lifting probably at like 16 or 17 years old. Thanks, Sassy Chick. Can you work at the camp next year, Henry? Maybe. Yeah, you're still pretty young. You want to go to the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 winter workouts? You just want to come to every winter workout, Henry? What do you think the future of travel ball is? Yeah, I think the future of travel ball is interesting. This is what I think about travel ball, and I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that there are probably too many teams. I think a lot of teams are in travel ball for good reasons, and I think there are certain teams that are in it for bad reasons. So, nice, Henry. So, like, there's certain programs that are just taking like every single kid that comes to tryouts, and they just want as many teams as possible, and they just throw you on a team, and those people are having horrible experiences. And then there's like with our team, so like for instance, I'm looking at this team right here, like 16U, okay? So like 16U has almost 80 kids that tried out for it, and like we're gonna have 2 teams. And we could have 3 or 4 teams if we wanted to, but we don't want to because I don't want to just put every kid on a program. Not that I don't want to help every kid, but I just don't think, I don't think the experience would be good for a player if he's just thrown on a team because he comes to a tryout. And so, I spent a ton of time when we're building these teams, like not just looking at talent, but then looking at, okay, the positions and like, can we get everyone playing time? And because in order to develop, you have to play. It doesn't mean you have to play equally because, we also don't do like equal playing time, but like you have to, the roster construction has to be done in a way that is going to make it a positive experience for players. Not everyone in our program has a positive experience. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm sure there's people like, I wish I played more. That's everywhere, right? But like, I don't know. I just, there's a lot more teams that I see that are just taking everyone. And like, you go to a tryout and you get offered a spot at the tryout because they just want as many players as possible. I don't think that's a good thing for travel baseball. I think that just creates, first of all, there's not enough coaches. Here's the other thing. Like, I don't want to have a million teams because it's too hard to find a lot of good coaches. In our program, I think we have really good coaches. But there's not just a million good coaches out there. So if we had 30 teams, like how do you find good coaches for it? What happens is you end up having like random people, random kids, random people coaching teams. And I don't know. If I was paying a lot of money to play in a team, I wouldn't want it to be just some random person coaching just because the team said, oh, we need to fill this team with players and then fill it with a coach. So just give them someone. I just think that's silly. So that's my thoughts. With all that being said, I think there's a lot of good travel ball teams. And I think people that are like, oh, travel ball is overrated and not needed, probably have not been part of a good travel ball program. Did I have the strongest arm when I played Little League? No, I had a strong arm, but when I was 13, I went and played for a team called New England Lightning, and they had to move me to second base because I did not have a strong enough arm to play shortstop. So, all right, everyone, I got 2 more minutes. I'm going to answer a few more questions, then I'm going to roll. What advice would you give to JUCO players? No different advice than anyone else. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're a baseball player, if you want to play at a high level, or just if you want to continue to get better, is like figure out what you're good at, figure out what you're not good at, and work really hard on everything, but really focus in a little bit more on what you're not good at. And if you get up every day, like this is how I approach my career, is I would wake up and I would say, what do I need to work on today? Most days involved working on my body, getting stronger, like eating well, right? Getting big and strong as fast as possible. And then it would be also like, okay, what's parts of my game? So like as an infielder, right? My backhand stinks. Okay, I'm gonna work a little extra on my backhand today. Like, I can't use the whole field well. I'm pulling out the ball. Okay, I'm gonna work on being inside the ball and driving the ball to right center field today. And like, that's how my days would go. And and that was like every day. I always say that to everyone, like, if you want to play baseball at a high level, like it can't just be like, it's a lot of fun, but it can't just like, it doesn't just happen by mistake, like if baseball just happens to maybe cross your mind at some point during the day, but maybe not, then you're in big trouble. For me, like that's what I thought about. When I get up, I'm like, okay, what do I got to do today? And my whole day, again, you can ask my wife, well, she'll say I still am the same way. But as a player, my day revolved around baseball first. So like baseball first and everything else was after that. Some people might say that's not a healthy thing, or not even like, some people might say like, I don't want to live like that. And that's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you kind of how my days, what I did that helped me be successful. And even doing that, I still, I played in the major leagues, but I didn't play for very long. I envisioned myself playing like a long time in the major leagues, and that didn't happen. So like, it's still really hard to play at that level, even if you're kind of like a psycho like that. Did you have a cool nickname? No, everyone called me Anto. That's it. How many kids tried out for your 12U? 12U team tryouts. I'm pulling them up right now. Looks like we had like 60 something. Yeah. The way I do my list is kind of like, now it's broken up by teams, but it looks like we had like, 60 something kids. Difference between D2 and JUCO really depends. Like there's some like unbelievable JUCO programs. There's some unbelievable D2 programs. There's some not good D2 programs. So it's too hard to break it down. Pitch out of the full windup in high school or with the bases loaded. So I personally don't like pitching out of the full windup with the bases loaded because, the biggest thing is a couple things. One, base runner can get typically a much bigger secondary lead. That's probably secondary to, if it's full count and you go for the full windup, the runner at first could potentially score in a single because They're going to get a lead. You're going to go in the full windup. They're going to start sprinting. They're going to be in a full sprint, rounding second, basically as the ball is getting hit. And so you can give up a single and potentially give up a run, or give up 3 runs on one single. So I personally don't like it, but how often do I work out in the season? Typically 2 to 3 times a week. And the only thing I would change is I'd work out heavier, but heavier weight, less reps. That's how I did it. Because the less reps will not make you as sore, but the heavier weights will still help you maintain your strength. The biggest mistake I see with weight training is that players stop training during the season. That's the worst thing you could do, because you work hard all winter or all off season, and then you stop training, and within 2 to 3 weeks you're going to notice a drop in strength, and at the end of a month or 2 months you're going to notice like all of your gains that you made are completely gone, and you wasted basically the entire winter. Is travel ball beneficial for a 6-year-old? It depends on what you mean by travel ball. So like my son's 7. He doesn't play travel ball right now. It depends on the type of program. This is like a lot of variables, but I'd have to know the program, and I'd need to know what other options are and all that. I had baseball over school. Yeah, I would say, to be honest, I had baseball over school, yeah. I'm not saying that's good advice. I'm just saying I had baseball over school. When I woke up in the morning, the first thing I thought about was not like, how am I going to get my grades better today? But it's not what I thought. I still got really good grades in high school. I mean, I got all A's and B's, and I did all my work, and I got it all in on time, and I focused on my work, but I focused more on my sports. You can't be like 100% sports, 0 baseball. Like that's not a good that's not a good formula. You can't do that. And you also got to know yourself. Like if you struggle with school, you're going to have to put more time into it. Like for me, school wasn't like easy. I'm not saying like I'm so smart that school is easy, because I'm not that smart, but I didn't need to like dedicate my whole day to school to get through school. I will start streaming MLB The Show again. I haven't played it in like 2 months, but I will. Do you give bunt signs or leave it to the batter? I don't give any bunt signs in our travel ball teams. I have a bunt sign and never gave it. I allow everyone to bunt for a hit. I think bunting for a hit is a weapon. I don't personally sacrifice bunt. Are there some situations where sacrifice bunt would be probably beneficial to our team? Like 9 hitters up, I know a guy can't get a hit. We could bunt the guy over. There's been those situations. I still don't put the bunt on, because for me, if I'm just taking a kid and bunting him all the time, he's not getting any better at hitting, and like he needs to get better at hitting. Oh, good job, Henry. Yeah, I told Henry that, I said, Henry, are you working out? You've been strength training? And he said, yeah, I went to the gym today. And I said, now, did you pick up the weights when you went, or did you just look at them? Because a lot of guys, go to the gym and they just look at them, and then they take a picture of themselves in the mirror. I'll tell you what, the weirdest thing, I'll leave you with this, and then I got to go. The weirdest thing I ever saw, I have not been to a gym. I went like 10 years without being to it. Not 10 years, let's see. Stopped playing let's say 6 years without being to a gym. And I went to a Planet Fitness for the first time in like 6 or 7 years. And it was the strangest thing I ever seen. Like most of the people in there were had their phones on and were looking in the mirror and like taking pictures of themselves. I'd never seen that before. That shows how much the world changes in 6 years. Like when I was there 6, 7 years ago in the gym, I never saw that. And the reason I went to a Planet Fitness is because I realized I still had a membership that I was paying like $3 a month for, and there was one right near my house. So I was like, I'll go to the Planet Fitness. I went like once or twice, and that was it. And I haven't gone back. But I was like, what is going on here? Everybody, like everyone was recording their workouts. Everybody was like taking selfies of themselves, and I was like, what are we doing? Like that didn't happen when I used to go to the gym back in the day. Not that I used to work at a Planet Fitness a lot back in the day, but I've been to a Planet Fitness. I've always had a Planet Fitness membership because, again, I lived near one and they were so cheap that like when I was playing, I had a strength and conditioning coach that I went to, but there were days where I couldn't get out there or whatever, and I was like, I just want to get a quick workout in. I would go to the Planet Fitness. Okay, that's all I got, everyone. I got to get ready to leave, but thank you so much for hanging out, and appreciate the super chats. Good speaking with you all again. It's been a while. I'll start putting more videos up now that our baseball season is starting to wind down, even though we move right into the next baseball season with fall ball and all that stuff. If you didn't take a selfie, did you really work out? That would sum up 2022 for you. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later.